Hello once again and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host Prince Magnum and this is a special episode of Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding. That's right folks, Project Spirit, my 1975 Ford Maverick that was built in November of 1974 to get ready for the new model year, has made 43 years old as of this month. Let me tell you folks, to have a car that's 43 years old, I mean that's one of the oldest cars I have ever owned as far as the year it was built. The oldest I've ever had was a 71 Chevy Nova, and that was back when I was a teenager. I love cars of the 70s. They're amazing, they're fun. You know, most of the time people don't think too much of them, but they're good cars. That being said, what makes Project Spirit tick? How in the world has she lasted 43 years? We're going to talk about that. First things first. When I say I have a 43-year-old car, it's not just the car itself, it's the engine too. Every now and again I get a hater that comes on and he likes to smart off because Project Spirit's inline 6 from the factory was rated for a very anemic 87 horses. That being said, it's kind of hard to argue with two major factors regardless of anything else that anybody has to say. Number one, she could still do stuff like this. Number two, that engine, despite a few breakdowns, has remained able to run for 43 years. Now granted, 200,000 miles is kind of a drop in the hat by today's standards, but for 1975, that's a lot of miles. That's an awful lot of miles, folks. Project Spirit is still doing stuff like this. And she's lasting as a daily driver after 43 years. Now bear in mind, 20 of those years she did sit, but it is, without a question, it is actually harder for an engine to sit than it is to run. Most people don't know that, but that's just a cold hard fact, especially in the old ones. So how'd she do it? How in the world? Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of stuff like this. Constantly, I'm always putting time and effort in. It's at least once a week I'm out there doing something to the old girl. If I want her to last, I got to take care of her, okay? You know, it's not like a new car where, you know, you can ignore everything on it and it'll be broke down in 7 years, you throw it away, who cares? You know, if you know, those cars were made to last if you take care of them. Plain and simple. But there's some other design features that most people don't realize is actually going on with Project Spirit's Inline 250. First and foremost, inline sixes in this country, I'm going to exclude the Mopar Corporation because, simply put, Mopar had slant sixes, and I don't qualify that as an inline, simply put, because their cylinders are leaned over, similar to a V8. So I won't count that because that engine's in a category all its own. That's just the way Dodge does things. So there's 3 car companies, without a question, that made fantastic inline sixes, and that's AMC, Chevrolet, well, GM in general, General Motors, and Ford. So you've got those 3 major manufacturers that made inline sixes, as far as the big 4 from the old days. Those 3 companies, AMC, General Motors, and Ford, out of all those companies, it is without a question, there's no one who can argue this, Ford had the best inline sixes. That's why they would continue to put their inlines in their F-150 2-wheel drives all the way up until like 1997, I think, is when they finally stopped. You could get basically a 306 with fuel injection all the way up until then. So they were built well, okay? The other factor that most people don't take into consideration, what makes them work so well, is the simplicity. And you'll note that that's what makes Project Spirit so dang cool and makes her work so well, is because of the simplicity. The inline 6, if you will, V6s have one design flaw, and when you start throwing in the cheaper materials that you see today, regardless of what all of you out there want to say, the design flaw is simple. Their cylinders are laid over like this, where Project Spirits go straight up and down. Gravity is still gravity, folks, even inside your engine. So if your pistons are laying over like this, there's going to be more wear and tear. Despite how much you change the oil, you're still going to get more wear and tear than you will in an inline 6 that goes straight up and down. It's just basic physics at that point. That's not to say that a good V6 couldn't last you, but again, when you start throwing in cheaper materials like the cast aluminum that you've seen up until currently, I think they might still even be doing that. They don't like gaskets. The heads warp real easy. I mean, these, V6s are designed to be thrown away. Why do you think in the Nissan Skyline all the way up until the R34, I don't know about the R35, but in the all the way up until the R34, they still used inline 6s, and that's the Nissan Skyline. So Project Spirit's inline 6 already has an amazing design feature because gravity is working with it and the pistons go straight up and down. That's one of the reasons why she's lasted so long, which also is the key to her foot-pounds of torque. I know what it looks like on paper. It is anemic, but with a little finagling, you can squeeze out a lot more, which I've said it a million times. I think I've even said it a couple of times here on the channel, but in the general public, I've said this numerous times. Her inline 6 3-speed manual setup is actually better suited for a truck. It's great for pulling. If I wanted to, I could put a trailer hitch on Project Spirit and I could start towing things just as if she was a truck. I have actually used her to tow a car before. That's the amazing capabilities of an inline 6, but most of the general public doesn't want to admit that because she does so well. Okay, 43 years can still, get you to and from work at a fairly decent gas mileage. Since I lost some of my modifications when she went down for those 6 months, basically, she's only getting half the gas mileage I know she can get. She's getting right about, believe it or not, 35, which by today's standard for an inline 6, that's almost unheard of, but that's still on par with the 6-cylinders of today. Folks, Project Spirit works because she's simple in nature. That's what killed the Maverick. They built them to last, and they worked. That's why all the way up until the late 80s, they were everywhere. So the haters can wait outside on this one. That's why we all love Project Spirit so much. She's still doing what she does best. Getting you from point A to point B, sometimes C, D, and E. She does it with economy in mind. She could still lay down, some hate. I mean, she's not going to win any land speed records, but I mean, she could still do it. She could still hold her own against cars like this. And on top of that, she does it looking good. That's why the people love her. That's why people all the way up to Canada, like my good friend, the Cadillac Kid, to people all the way down here who don't even know much about cars, like my good buddy Big Bad Bert, we all love her. And by the way, I can guarantee when this video comes out, Big Bad Bert will tell you that even riding in Project Spirit after all these years is even more comfortable than riding in a new car. That's why Project Spirit is so awesome. So to those who want to hate, guess what? You really can't hate a car that still has its original engine after 43 years. That's the theme here. 43 years. So even if you pulled up next to me in your, brand new Z06 Corvette and you still beat me, guess what? You still lost. You still lost, because at day's end, my car's going to outlive yours. So that's just the way it is. That's where we're at. Real quick, how about a music video for all of you who love Project Spirit? Because not only has Project Spirit been around for 43 years, she's been with the Prince Magnum channel for 2. So as of this month as well. So let's give the old girl a lot of love, and I'll see all of you on the other side of this. welcome back. There you go, Project Spirit. One amazing ride. The car that I've, you know, that just, you know, it makes it worth getting up each day to go to work just because of a car like that out there waiting on you. I mean, yeah, she's not, you know, she's not some awesome street pounding car like, you know, a super sport Chevelle or a fastback Mustang, but at day's end, she's still an awesome looking car. She's still a lot of fun to drive. For the most part, I mean, she's pretty doggone reliable. Yeah, she's got things that need to be replaced, things that need to be fixed. I mean, she's a good car, though. I mean, she's a good car. She's still fun to drive. And if you're ever feeling low, don't worry. Go out into the public driving a car like that. I promise you, you can't stay low for very long. Just wave or honk at somebody. They'll be glad to wave back at you because you're driving something that's, well, classic. Very classic. Those cars were classic the moment they left the assembly line anyways. So, there you have it. Real quick, how about talking about what's yet to come? We're still looking for the adapter plate, which I have a friend I got to get in touch with by next paycheck. He'll be able to get me the adapter plate that, you know, he'll be able to help me to get the adapter plates that I need so we can finish the front disc brake conversion. On top of that, we're going to remove some stuff from the steering column because I've got a neutral safety switch that's causing me a lot of problems, and basically we're going to move her ignition setup from the column to a different spot with some security features, which we're going to get my friends up there at Bonterre Auto Parts to help with that whole new setup. We've got a brand new stereo that we're going to be installing that's going to be hidden somewhere in the car, you know, to kind of keep prying eyes off of it, that I got, basically I bought on a sweet deal, Black Friday sale. It's nothing super fancy, but it's got some neat design features that I like, and we'll be looking at getting some respectable speakers because, you know, I want to have some tunes. I'm not looking for the, you know, thump, thump, thump. But, you know, to me, you know, I want some tunes, you know, cruising down the road. And we're going to start looking at either one of two things. This is where you, the Maverick Nation, or general passerbyers, can leave some comments in the box below, definitely on this subject. The debate is, are we going to rebuild her original inline six? Because it would be kind of cool to have a numbers matching hot rod. And who really builds inline sixes with hot rodding in mind, or should we go ahead and start looking at doing a V8 conversion, either going to a 351 Windsor or a 302? I'm leaning more towards the 351, just because if you're going to go big, let's go all the way. You know, it's something that'll fit in there, and yeah, I'll have to cut a hole in the hood, which is no big deal in my opinion. I don't mind that at all. You know, we can mount an awesome looking hood scoop on there, you know, hole through the hood, and, you know, all that cool stuff. You know, or should we just go ahead and leave her original inline six in there, just rebuild it? I know we're going to go ahead and try to push the original mileage all the way up to 45 years, just to say that we've done it. But, you know, what do you all think? So leave it in the box below on what you think we should do about Project Spirit as far as, you know, what engine upgrade. You know, should we go ahead and rebuild her original inline six, or should we go ahead and go V8 and go V8 all the way? You know, there you go. It brings us to the usual spot. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, hit it really hard. If you're not subscribed to the Prince Magnum channel, you really should be. There's a little something on here for everybody. I got some videos that I'm still working on, I've got a video that I've got to finish for Surviving Romance on cooking a steak at home. I've got that video to finish along with some other stuff. You know, just tons of projects, lots of irons in the fire. If you're not subscribed, you're missing out. Hit the bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. And real quick, a very special shout out to Black Charger 123 for kind of helping me with the inspiration, how in the world has Project Spirit's engine lasted for so long. Special shout out to you, buddy. As usual, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. Maybe you might take them for a ride in your project car. And as always, if no one out there has told any of you that they love you, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.